we don't know how parents are suffering to manage the child to come out of that situation towards the family atmosphere. According to my knowledge, parental care is essential to modify their behavior. It may be even as a grown-up child, they are very busy in spending. Even they are ready to spoil mobile, they lost lakhs of rupees. Like that only, even school children also, even if we restrict the child, it may be another problem. Even how to manage the child by making that, motivate that in a right way. So we need patience. Actually, your motto, what way you described, train yourself, then train others. It's a very good platform to hear that one. First, we have to observe ourselves. If we are follow, it may be a parents as a teacher, then slowly we can guide the child to be as a good. So it is my opinion related to the school counseling. So as art-wise, I'm very much interested uh, to write this book, Principles of Psychology in 2021. Most of, so for the past 15 years, I am teaching psychology for BSc nursing students and College of Physiotherapy. So most of them getting 100% success, university ranks. It is inspired me to write book. Anyway, I'm feeling happy to share my views on this one. Thank you very much, all the dignitaries of this department. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts. Now, we have with us as resource person of today's session, Dr. Bani Narula. She has completed her PhD from Punjab University, Chandigarh, and she worked as assistant professor in DAV College, Chandigarh. At present, she is working as assistant professor in the Department of Psychology at Postgraduate Government College for Girls, Chandigarh. As she is a good academic achiever of gold medal at graduation level from Punjab University, she is very positive in her attitude and responsibility. She has attended several seminars and workshops and conferences and presented many papers. She published a book and about 30 research papers in various journals of national and international reputation. Madam, we are very, very happy to have you with us today. I request you now to take over the session and continue with the session and enrich us with your views regarding the things we have to follow with ethical and with ethical guidance regarding counseling. Once again, I request Dr. Bani Narula, who is the resource person of today, to kindly enrich us with your views regarding the ethical part of legal and ethical part of counseling. Hello, Dr. Bani ma'am. Can you hear me?
Good evening, Chinni Simon, ma'am. Madam requested actually to unmute her. I think so. It's not possible from her side, I think. Please.
Yes,
It is not only the students, it is not only the students who need counseling, but I believe a lot of parents also needs one. Since we have seen number of problems ushering, call it substance abuse, call it children following wrong practices, even for that matter, health related issues also. So counseling, I'm not going to go in details what counseling is. I would primarily would like to talk about what do we understand by the ethical and legal aspects. Now, if I'm not feeling well, I will go to a physician, take a medicine. If I have a heart problem, I would go to a cardiac surgeon. If I have a stomach related issue, I would go to, again, a particular gastro doctor. But if I have daily life problems, if I cannot adjust well, if I cannot stay with the kind of healthy relationships, if I have guilt feeling, I feel shameful of myself, I cannot accept myself, that is when counseling is required. A counselor these days, as prescribed by CBSE, which says that it is very, very important that we must have a separate junior and senior wing counselor in order to take care of the problems of different students. Now, every profession, it has some legalities, it has some ethics. As a teacher myself, I must be able to know what is it that I'm telling my students to do. Am I building any moral qualities in them? Am I making them self-sufficient? Or in psychology, we know Abraham Maslow talks about self-actualization. This is exactly all dear participants that counseling aims at. It aims to heal. It aims to re-establish hope. And the first ethic which comes in this context talks about is that it is one important factor which says that anonymity should be maintained. By anonymity, I mean the personal identity of the counselee. If I am a counselor, a student comes to me, a child comes to me, and this is primarily dealing with children. You know, in schools, they go to their teachers, their parents. That is when they come up with the problems. And what we do, we are very open, we are very vocal. We just narrate, yahan se, we just went out of this room, I just met someone there, and I start telling them, that girl had come, she had this problem, she was facing this issue. But is this correct? Is this what is meant to be a good counselor or an effective counseling process? No, I cannot at any cost reveal identity, the course of action, the behavior, the problem or issue faced by the person. That means I'm not here to invade anyone's privacy. You cannot just open anyone's life and put a cross on a table and just have a chit chat. You need to maintain confidentiality. Number one. Another ethic which says is there should be no exploitation. By exploitation, I mean, we all are students. I'm sure I'm catering to the requirement of students, and we all are movie lovers. I would like to quote an example for a movie. Shah Rukh Khan and Alia, they were together in Dear Zindagi. The movie which has a message, a very relevant message. No exploitation would mean when I, as a counselor, I'm not dealing with any of your problems. I'm dealing with your problems, but I'm not maintaining any relationship with you. I'm not trying to find a comfort zone in you. I cannot have any kind of relationship except a professional relationship. So that should not be there. And especially we have seen, the research says that yes, of course, the transference takes place. That is not ethically correct. I need to maintain a relationship which is professional, which is voluntarily. I cannot get any student to me and just say that, you have to be with me. I have to do counseling, so you have to be my student. That is not how it works. Then another thing which is very important, third ethic, is equality of relationship. Now, equality means a human being is my subject. He should be respected. She should be given dignity. She should be given sense of a feeling where I'm there to just assist her. I am no one to direct anyone. I'm no one to say, get up in the morning, do that. If I do that, I'm just making the person dependent on me. Counseling, number one rule says, does not make you dependent. It makes you independent, so that even without the help of a counselor, you can take your own decisions. Now, this point which says equality means if I feel, the counselor feels very, very superior, because I'm very educated, I would say I have done this, I've done a PhD, I'm a gold medalist, that way. So I'm very expert. This will make me dominating in my relationship, which is absolutely unethical. And if I think, that I am lesser in power, I'm lesser in status in comparison to my counselee, then the counselor may lose the confidence that I'm capable enough to deal with my client. So whenever you refer to any counselor, or whenever any kind of counseling you take, please make sure you have seen the credentials of the counselor. The counseling process can be ethically correct if I am an effective counselor my own self. Only then can I teach all these qualities to you. Another thing which I would like to tell you is informed consent. Another ethic is I must take your consent before I get into this voluntary relationship. It is an alliance. It is a bond. I must take your permission that whether you are interested or not. And in this thing, what happens is, do I need your parents' consent? For example, if a child comes to me and is a minor, in that case, below 16, I as a counselor cannot just talk to the child, meet the child, interact with the child without or prior to the parents' permission. In that case, I make sure that what techniques will I use. If it's a child, it has to be, play therapy is beautiful. Contour drama. Children learn just by playing. They do not even know, they're enacting themselves. So that the hitch in them, that impasse, एक ऐसी चीज जो उन्हें रोक रही है, जो उनको हटा आगे बढ़ने नहीं देती, उसको एक काउंसलर कम करता है. And another very important thing is, important ethic, I would say, is client's welfare. I, at any cost, cannot really just get the child to my class or to my session and just talk and just make money or mint money out of it. No doubt it's a profession, it's a business, but whatever I do, if I think I'm not able to handle the case, I better assign that case to someone else, or I better make sure that I record all the points and I make sure that I say to the client, I'm not capable enough to tackle your problem. That means whatever I do is for no one but my client's welfare. And these days, people are taking counseling sessions and they're done with it. They do not know what has been done to them. So, last ethic, which is very important, is to debrief. Counseling is over. Once the room very, very unhappy, at least not that So what is important is the client should not be anxious. The client, people face trauma. We have seen when people are not happy and doing well, that is the time when the problem creeps in. Okay. Then we come to the developing the normalcy. These were the little ethical issues. Now we come to the legal issues which are very important in counseling. Now, legal means whenever the term legal comes, it automatically comes to my mind that it is going to be something related to law and judgment. And of course, we are absolutely correct, because the word ethic and legal, they're joined together. They mean very simple fact that we have to have legally privileged communication. The kind of content which my client tells to me, the kind of information which is passed to me, it's not only my personal moral duty. If I reveal, it's legally, unethically wrongdoing on my part. Therefore, legal problems can arise, and there are countries like California, there are countries where there is committed, this is committed as an act of crime, as an act where there is a lot of threat. So therefore, this legal action can be taken against a counselor who reveals the information, the important private world of the client. I would like to share even a case study which happened at University of California. In Berkeley, there was a student who faced a lot of issues and who threatened that, he would kill his girlfriend. But as an ethical and legal issue, we are not supposed to reveal someone's information. So what happened? The counselor did not report this to anyone else. Hence, at the end of the day, or perhaps after about 4 days or 5 days, what was noticed was that the client eventually killed his girlfriend. Now here, the counselor is irresponsible. It's agreed that you're not supposed to share the information. You're not supposed to be talking about it. You're not supposed to be vocal about it. But what happened? When you think the matter is serious, there is gravity of situation, we must acknowledge facts, look into the details, cross-check, refer back again, and get back to the client automatically. Later, now what happens whenever there is sexual abuse, whenever there is this crime which is under the age of 16, where there is hospitalization required, all these things, when there are court cases, that is the time when this thing has to be kept in mind, that what all has to be shared with people, especially if it's child and adolescent counseling. If it's child and adolescent counseling, informed consent from parents is very important. Referring to teachers is very important. The peers, the friends, they give very relevant information. So we need, just like any other profession, we need to even note down their basic informations, their educational interests. When do I know the child needs my help? When, as a counselor, as a teacher, as a parent, when there is dropout in the school, the child says no to going to school, the child does not play, the child is not showing appropriate behavior, there is conduct problem that we are seeing, child is anxious. I have noticed when students comes to me, this is a very common problem, which is called stage fear. Coming in front of 50 people talking, or not even 50, even in a classroom setting, just 20 people are there and you are interacting. You feel things are not good. You understand there is a problem. So we have seen students, getting dropouts, absenteeism, and we are there. That is the time you feel it is ethically on part of a teacher or even as a parent or an onlooker that I must help such people and such children. Why? Because role model, the young youth, the adolescents, they need role models. They do not need critics. Therefore, at the end of the session, I say that what is important and relevant is that students should be counseled along with parents. If 25% of time they spend in school or with their friends, that is the 75% which goes at their homes, their families, their parents. So ethically, what is correct is to educate, to counsel, not just the child, but even their parents. Because the recent research and the recent observations these days is that parents these days are giving their children too much. They're giving too much too soon. So therefore, we do not acknowledge the values. We are facing a lot of social, emotional problems. We are coming, especially this also comes from an area where children are facing adverse childhood experiences. As child, when there is physical abuse, there is sexual abuse, there is trauma, there are negative circumstances. So the children, we understand them through their body language, through their gestures. So therefore, the ethics says that as a counselor, I must, at the end of the day, be formally educated. I must have my credentials. I must have my degrees, my relevant courses, my experiences. And therefore, I must have a certificate for that matter. If I do not have the certificate, I do not have my documents, which do not prove I am a counselor, it's ethically incorrect. Not just that, there is a license. You must have heard a lawyer, an advocate can practice until and unless he cannot practice till the time he or she receives the license to practice. Hence, the practicing of license, the practicing is there only with the license. So if I'm a counselor, I have to be a certified counselor. It must certify that I can help people. I can assist them in their daily lives. I can assist them and develop that sense of realizing their potential. I can assist them to make a human being who is a positive person. Therefore, what is important is, as a counselor, I must attend workshops like you have one going on right now, all sorts of information that you hear. You know, I will share my personal experience with you. We have this PGI here in Chandigarh, and there is this pediatric center there which deals especially with with children. So there is this child psychology, and I attended that lecture. It's as interesting as anything. They do share the information with us. You know, if I have to deal with conduct problems, if I have to deal with other issues, they of course deal with us, but they deal in the sense every information is it's not disclosed to us. The name of the child, the parent's name, the age group, where do they come from, which city do they belong from, all these things are absolutely, they're kept secretly hidden, but we are told about the symptoms. So therefore, imparting of information is important, but way, what criteria it should be, that is something which is very important. So when the child is playing, you know, normally and absolutely says, I don't want to play. When the child is making a painting or is drawing using black colors, using dark colors, where there is no door to the home, where there are no birds flying in the air, when there is no bright sunlight, no flowers, it reflects there is a problem, there is a dilemma. So therefore, it's not always vocal that I need to understand, but even the non-verbal cues are very, very relevant. So continuing the education, getting affiliated to certain organizations. For example, there is this neuropsychologists who have all heard about American Psychological Association. So there is American Counseling Association as well. There's American Association of Marriage and Family Counseling as well. There is accreditation of counseling and related problems. So if I talk about AC, if I talk about RCEP, there is not just counseling, people are getting affiliated to even the rehabilitation programs, the community programs. As a professional, ethically correct, specific field, there are different states, there are different countries today. There is Rehabilitation Council of India, which is RCI. And to these days, girls, I'm saying because I've come from girls' college, but addressing all, these days, counselors are a very important and imperative part of society. Be it the parents, they need counseling. They have issues at home. There are children who need regular counseling so as to see there is no substance abuse, there is no drug abuse. So at the end, I will say that this counseling it's an ongoing development. And to be very honest, we are all blessed because when we are born, we have mothers. We grow up, we have mothers. They cannot be a better counselor than to give you the correct advice, the appropriate method, and she's going to help you without even telling you that she's helping you out. So these ethics and the legal issues, they are not black and white terms. They are the principles on which counseling is based. If Rogerian or Rogers, Carl Ransom Rogers is, we can say, father of counseling, today it's very important to understand that we are just making use of psychological principles and applying in life. So I would say if someone who is better counseled or someone who is a happier person with lesser burnout, with more productivity, is that a person who is happy at heart, who believes in himself or herself, is self-aware, is accepting oneself and maintaining that relationship. Hence, this counseling, the ethics and the legal issue says that it is not only the treatment. I would say counseling is the prevention. If the correct, ethically correct, legally involved counseling is done, it's the prevention. The school, any age group can benefit. And especially when we notice a change, we must acknowledge that anxiety, frustrations, irritability, all these have a root cause and we must work onto it. It is my advice or general suggestion to all parents that we must accept our children. We must believe them so that they believe themselves. And at times we say, ye bachcha kehna nahi manta, ye bachcha meri sunta nahi hai, doesn't listen to me. That is the time we must understand that it's the adolescent brain. It's an adolescent brain which is a pedal to the metal without suitable brakes. They, of course, they do not know when to make a brake. They do not know what pedal to put on, because that is the time their emotional gut feelings are very strong. Their amygdalas are working. If you say the cerebral cortex, it is the pruning of the neurons, the proliferation of the neurons is yet to take place. So there is a time when, of course, there is identity crisis and the child does not listen to you, but that is when ethically correct counseling takes place. That is what it is very important. So this is what I wanted to say, that there shouldn't be any helicopter parenting, just like a helicopter hovers around us. So there shouldn't be that. We should be leaving the child with a sense of responsibility and freedom, because that is what will not make the child face any problems. There should be serve and return interactions. If I'm serving to you, you are returning that back to me. So if there is a proper knowledge that you have to share your secrets with your parents, that is the time where we can feel children are not facing any problems. Why? Because they are told about the good and the bad. They're told about both sides of the coin. So if you talk about counseling, if you talk about ethically correct counseling, it's not only the degrees, it's not only the career counseling, it's every kind of counseling which requires the correct path, which is ethically correct. And today, if counseling aims at making you adjust well to your world, to your life, that is, I think, makes us strong and IQ. Because today, intelligence quotient is not only about getting good marks or being at top of the class, but it also means if I adjust well to the environment. So I would say that counseling is today equivalent to being very, very intelligent. And I think this is an important instrument in our hands. It's a technique which will make us very well, from unwell to well. It's not only making us increased or enhanced on our sense of well-being, rather, we're not even sick. So that means we are having a holistic development by ethically and legally following the correct path of this relationship between counselee and counselor, which is called a healthy counseling. This is all which I wanted to share with you. If there is anything, dear audience, you think you need to ask or you have queries for, it's more than welcome.
Thank you very much, ma'am, Dr. Bani Narula, for sharing your views with us regarding the legal and ethical aspect of counseling. Definitely, it's very enriching for us to know about the ethical and legal part of counseling. And what actually is counseling? You have quoted the reference of Abraham Maslow's self-actualization theory. It's a nice part of it. Now, I request the participants to come up with your any queries if you have, so that ma'am is ready to answer them. Participants, please give your feedback.
Yes, that will be nice. I would like to really know about it. I tried to make it very crisp. I did not want to be a longer one, and with the PPTs, at times counseling it's a storytelling. It's like you learn just by talk. I think it's a talking cure. You talk and you feel better. The baggage is lesser on your shoulders, right? So even if there's anything that you would like to know, it's more than welcome.
Ma'am, it's me, Chini Simon. Do we have any, articles regarding this ethical and legal part of counseling?
Yes, we do have. And rather, I would like to say that there is this, not only today, you have Girishwar Mishra, sir, with you. Sir talks a lot about the Eastern concepts. Okay. And even there are different articles by Nistel, by Gibson, which are very, very relevant, and especially which talks about, it's the first chapters, I would say, just to begin even with counseling. So there are different authors like Gibson, like Nistel, like Rao, we have Sahaj Pal, all writing about the ethical and the moral and legal issues. It's rather even moral issues also at times said.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And do we have any sections legally
Yes.
regarding this
Yes,
counseling, ma'am?
we do have sections. There are sections like you have just like Constitution of India. Similarly, there are sections which is specifically demarcated, which says if I do this comes under this section, which is an offense. And I told you, different countries, different states are also imposing an offense if there is, you can say, if there is malpractice being done on part of the counselor.
Okay.
Ma'am, one question,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, please.
Good evening, ma'am. This is one incident you told about California. So if we get the information in the beginning of from the client only, so there is a chance to safeguard the life of the person, no? So
yes.
In what way you can we can protect that one? Can you explain once?
Okay. In our country, especially India, there is this act which came in 2012, which is called POSCO Act. If the child is being sexually abused, and if I'm a first, even a non-looker, even if I see from my eyes or hear, that is my duty. It's my moral duty. I have to report it to the police. It has to be reported and registered. If I do not do that, I am getting myself trapped into a huge trouble, which is ethically and legally not correct. Similarly, this is the case over here. If the child or if the client or if the person comes and says, I want to kill this child, or I want to kill my girlfriend, I want to kill this person, this word itself shows the importance. This word tells me this is where I have to stop. This is where I have to work on. This is where I have to report it. So we all should have this sense of judgment where we are knowing what is the word which the client is using, and it could be serious. It could be serious, it could not, and it could not be serious. But we cannot just let it go without reporting. Perhaps it might even help someone. And if that time the counselor would have reported it, it would have been really beneficial and that girl would have been saved. That is why I say counseling is a prevention. Why should we make it as a treatment? Why not work before the situation happens? Why do we want someone to die for us to counsel? Why don't we want someone to get into the substance abuse and then we counsel? So that is what I think being aware is very important.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, POCSO Act, it's very serious in India compared to other countries. It's saving a lot. But in that way, also there is a chance to suffer differences between one country to another country.
Yes, ma'am, that is true. I will say that even if I report anything, I'm always thinking some bad name would come to me. People will think, I am reporting. Someone can come back to me and tell me certain things or call me abusive language, whatever. But I have to think of the long-term consequences. Someone can die. Someone can have some very, very ill, someone can have illness anxieties, this thing would happen to me or that thing would happen to me. So I think we have to think about, again, two sides of the coin. I understand there could be something, but if the larger impact is heavier, if the impact is at a larger level, I think that is when I can, yes, think upon that this is very effective.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Dr. Bani Narula.
Madam?
Bani.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Madam, is it the same sections that are applied everywhere around the world? माने सभी एक ही जैसे होता है कि अलग अलग से होता है?
अलग अलग होता है मैम, हर एक कंट्री का, हर एक स्टेट का अलग होता है. पॉस्को एक्ट तो पैन इंडिया चलता है, बट हर एक स्टेट का अपना एक अलग लॉ होता है. बट जैसे आप लोगों ने एबनॉर्मल साइकोलॉजी में DSM सुना होगा, एक ऐसा मैनुअल है जिसमें सारी बीमारियों का लिखा जाता है. ऐसी ही हमारे पास भी मैनुअल्स हैं जिसमें ये कोडिंग करी जाती है. तो वो लगभग सेम है, पर आप कह लीजिए थोड़ी सी भाषा, थोड़ा सा कंटेंट, एक आधा फर्क कर जाता है, रेफरिंग टू डिफरेंट कंट्रीज. Like there is something which is ethically wrong also. If I go to a small tribal area, in order to express my grief, I need to break my little finger. So only if I break my little finger, my grief is expressed. Is showing grief here in our country, crying. That is how grief is being expressed. So this is how it matters.
मैडम कौन बनाते हैं मैडम ये लॉ का एनफोर्समेंट? हेलो हेलो
Ma'am, can you please repeat again? Yes, please.
Madam, any special organization of enforcement of all these laws and sections?
Yes, ma'am. When we refer to Rehabilitation Council of India, the government of India is issuing it. So we have to refer to that issuance.
Okay. That means what all the new issues come, we need to.
Yes. Like long time back, this transgender word was not there. We were not talking about gays and lesbians. We were not talking about it very openly. But today they need counseling. So the new additions, they need to be incorporated into the older ones because the times are changing and we need to be updated ourselves. This is one of the important ethical aspect of a good counselor. An effective counselor should be updated.
Okay. Do we have recorded documentation of all these things, no? Anywhere available?
We do not have recording, especially in our country, but we do have some, we have the coding systems there available. And the ethics, which is the base, whenever you make a child go into this counseling profession, the child has to adopt these. You have to practice them. We cannot afford to not follow them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bani Narula, I really congratulate you for just you have given us so much of information. So I would like to add, as a psychologist and also as practicing lawyer, see, there are two writs. The client can file against the counselor. So if the counselor reveals any oral information, that writ of slander can be filed against the counselor. And any written material or document is being revealed to other people. So under those circumstances, the client can file the writ that is liable. So these two are the writs. The client have every right to file against the counselor. And here, whatever the counselor, that is interaction, it is involved between the counselor and the counselee. So naturally, everything is being recorded by the counselor. So this is India or anywhere, the same situation, same rates are being followed. So this is mainly as far as this counseling process is concerned, these ethics are legal ethics are most important. Yeah. So that means under any circumstances, the counselor, even the police people, see, the client happened to be involved in a particular case. Under those circumstances also, if at all the police or the judiciary approaches the counselor, under those circumstances also, so this, counselor is not supposed to give any kind of record, unless otherwise the judiciary people just sent in written letter to that counselor, and the counselor in turn just submitting those records at the time of just inquiry in the judiciary. So these are all otherwise, under any circumstances. So that means it is really, of course, in India everything is going on, but in abroad, but the rules are implemented so effectively. There, any kind of, including doctor's profession, pretty well that there any kind of misuse, any kind of unethical process is being involved by the doctor, particularly related to client, then they have every right to claim so much of some lakhs of rupees against the doctor. And similarly, as far as counseling is also concerned, here client has every right to just penalize the counselor. So, counseling, Tom, Dick and Harry cannot do it because, here certain ethics, and in India, and everybody is just set up a clinic in the name of counseling process. No, but they have to undergo. So this training is most required. Training, that means updating of counseling skills are most important. We cannot see that. Moreover, all people cannot accept counselors. You see, for example, family counseling is concerned. We hear only married people and they are having children and they are they're leading a fantastic life, both just husband and wife along with children. Then only it will be called as family. So here, those people who are intact with the family, that means husband, children, and then only such people, moreover, after doing psychology and undergoing a diploma, undergoing PhD, then only they are eligible. And unmarried people are not entitled to handle this that marriage counseling. Marriage counseling they can handle, but at the same time, here the married people, that too who are leading a beautiful life, such people are only eligible to deal or to handle family counseling cases. But in India, here rules are there, but as I said, no one is following the ethics as far as ethical and legal aspects. And for example, long back, the Supreme Court of India has issued an order. Any college, any institute, any school is with the 1,000 number of students are there. Inevitably, the correspondent or the management should inevitably appoint a psychologist, a qualified psychologist. but here not implemented. This is an unfortunate situation we are experiencing in India. Okay, this but that means here all people, anyone for that matter, just studying psychology, just doing diploma, just doing PhD, are not at all eligible to go for just opening of a counseling center. First of all, they should undergo proper training. They should equip proper skills. Then only they are eligible. Certain norms are there, ethics are there. But here, pretty well, everybody knows. And once the completion of this PG degree, they are establishing counseling centers. This is quite unfortunate situation. So for that, in order to just curb all these unqualified, qualified, they are PG, they are having PG psychology, but they don't have proper skills. So that's why the WCOP have come forward to extend training to the postgraduate psychology people. That too, majority of the participants today we are with us, they are also working already in school level as teachers, and they are all qualified psychologists. And here, by completion of this 3 months training program, I can assure all these 25 participants, they are fully qualified. They can render scientific counseling and stepwise counseling. So that means they can already, some of our participants, they are implementing these learned counseling skills in their appropriate institutions. And the clients in turn, they are just recovering from these already affected psychological problems. I'm really happy. I'm just announcing just before our participants. I really congratulate our participants because my goal, my objective is being fulfilling just before completion of this training program as far as this school counseling is concerned. Right. Thank you very much. Dr. Cindy Simon, just go.
Sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to give a small feedback, sir.
Yeah, good.
So respect.
Yeah, Sahina, please tell.
Mother is the best counselor to accept ma'am. Extraordinary session. Thanks God. I extend my gratitude to Dr. B.G. Reddy, sir.
Thank you so much for having me here. It is my honor. I'm very glad. Thank you so much, B.G. Reddy, to have me. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Tomorrow, okay, I wish all the participants will also become like our resource person. Okay. Thanks for passing on nice comment again as today's resource person. Right. Now, I request Dr. Cindy Simon to go to propose a vote of thanks, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, the session was very, very interactive today. And I would like to thank all the patrons, chief patrons, and President B.G. Reddy Garu, General Secretary, Treasurer V. Suresh, to all the core committee members and executive committee members, and all the participants for your nice interaction with Bani ma'am today. Sharing with us his thoughts, and especially Srimati Nalini madam. Then I would like to thank Bani Narula for enriching us with the legal and ethical aspect of counseling today, wherein she had given us